Chaile time. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Chaile Time. Toby, welcome. How are you?
Kanama, it's hectic at the moment. Running with CCMA cases and bargaining council cases. I had a very tough one yesterday. Otherwise, there's a lot happening. Business is growing. I'm just so flustered at the moment with all this tight schedule, with all these CCMA cases just lining up. And also I hardly ever see you at the moment. You know, there's
a lot of
it's just cases all the time. It's like the world going mad.
I just checked my calendar. On the 26th, it's Durban. 27th, it's Mpumalanga. The 30th, again, it's Durban.
You know, Durban, even tomorrow, it's like every week now. It's just non-stop.
Yeah, so
we probably need to open a branch there or something. Is there anybody who would like to go to Durban? Relocate.
I'm not going to make a great Zulu man there.
And then there's also the issue on the global stage, you know, with America and Iran and the oil price. I mean, I read last week some article. Apparently in April, the petrol price is going up something like 4 rand a litre or something.
Somewhere there.
Well, now you say, you know, that's even more depressing. 8 rand a litre.
Yeah, somewhere there, it's just a speculation, but you don't know how true is it.
Because Uncle Bob there, you know.
I saw it, you know, now, these days it's a problem because we don't know what is real and we don't know what is AI. I saw that he's saying now, allegedly, he's coming for Cuba now. Cuba is a nice, cute island there, but people there, they don't know how to control that little cute island. I'm coming for Cuba.
It's like somebody is going to pick up his child after school, but on the way there, he goes to this shop, he goes there. You know, so he started with Venezuela, now he's in Iran, and when he's done, he's going to Cuba.
And there's another conspiracy theory that says Benjamin Netanyahu is not alive
that's
anymore.
Nonsense, man. He's alive and well, kicking. Yeah, but he's got a problem now, Uncle Bob. He's got a problem there in Iran now. You know, he's the kind of guy that first do then think.
Yes.
You know, so he got himself involved there, and now he's like, oh crap, there's an issue here that he didn't see in advance and planned for. And that's the whole Strait of Hormuz thing. You know, something I realized now is that, you know, Tepo, something I realized is, for some reason, this world is made in a way that we all are dependent on one another.
Yes.
It's absolutely amazing. You know, the one country will provide meat, the other one fruit, the other one gold, you know, and when you go to war with anybody, somehow it hurts you too.
Yeah.
There's a cost to you too. Now, if I mean, if you look at Iran, obviously the Americans don't like Iran, okay? And obviously the United States Army and military is much stronger than Iran, okay? And they're shooting the crap out of those guys. But that Strait of Hormuz is that one small canal which was made by God that way, and Iran happened to manage that little canal, and now they're blocking the world's oil from going through that little canal. I mean, it's just like, America, you can shoot me as much as you want, but you're not getting oil.
I believe also you went to seek for help from the UK, and then somebody in the UK said, let me first consult with my team. And it's like, you are the leader. You can make a decision.
Those guys,
why must you go and consult?
All those guys came back and said, not our war. But anyway, so we'll see.
Let's get back to us. What's happening with SPAR?
SPAR, I just saw on the news. Now look.
Even on the news, on the business.
I think
when I come to work, they were talking about it.
I got in a bit of a restructure mode for the last maybe 2-3 years, where there's a lot of large companies leaving the country. And my intention is not to mean this in a negative way, because you see, the thing is, life is about transformation. It transforms. So you may have, in 100 years from now, you may ask yourself, what happened to this big company, or what happened to that big company? But in its place, a lot of AI or new technology driven companies emanated out of that, so an economy will always transform. So I don't think it is, I know in the short term it's a bad thing if a company closes, but you'll see that the future us will look different, just like we now looking different than 50 years ago, as an example. But we are in that transition stage, so there are a lot of companies leaving us, and but there's also new opportunities coming. There's also new investments made. But if you look at Spar, for instance, in an article they said that they ran a loss of about 5 billion rand in the last financial year. So I think it's more on the corporate side of things, more on the higher level head office and so they are just obviously going to streamline a bit and see if they can't return to profitability. But it's a tale at the moment. Yeah. The same tale of the last 2 years, Goodyear closing, Nissan and all these
Actually, I was about to say that I wouldn't say it's a negative thing that you're putting out there. I was listening to your federation chairperson, Solim Simang. He was on this other podcast.
My federation
DA man.
What make you
He's
think?
from the DA.
What make you think I'm a DA man?
You are a DA. You always preach to me about DA for so many years. I've known you for 20 years now.
I've also preached about the ANC. I'm a very complicated human being.
Okay, it's fine.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, politics
anyway,
aside. So I had Solim Simanga saying, he was mentioning also Ford, Nissan, Escort, because he was raised in Attersville, so there was Escort there. So he was mentioning all this, and then he said people are excited that now Chaile is taking over the Nissan plant, but now are the jobs secured? Because now Chinese, they believe in technology, everything, unlike us where there was what do you call it when they're building a car? What do they call it?
When you build a car.
Yeah, but with the Chinese, they're more based on high technology and AI.
They're very technology driven.
You understand? So we mustn't get excited so quick because Chinese focus more on technology.
Yeah, there's the old tale of the Americans saying when they invest, they add value in the base, creating supporting structures for the long term. Well, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what they say where the Chinese are. They're not really vested in the underlying supporting structures, long-term strategy. They're more like vultures coming in, taking advantage of the system and then trying the place out, I'm not saying that is true.
Yeah, no, he was actually...
I know this is probably more political than anything else.
Yeah, he was actually also talking about our government must relook at our education system because that's what the Chinese are doing.
But then again, also, Tsepo, we have Chinese clients and they're solid. I don't have a problem with them.
Yeah.
I've got some of them. Let me not lie. Some of them are questionable, but we have Chinese clients that are perfectly fine. So I'm not a politician. So anyway.
I was just showing a bigger scope in terms of what is happening at SPAR. It's actually something that is you can look at other big major companies.
But there's also investments coming in, and I know the Americans also, they are looking at our mineral resources, and apparently there's like over 600 American companies here and they're investing more now. Amazon also. I just can't remember the name now, but I read somewhere in a week about another American company is doing an over 1 billion rand in additional investment into South Africa, so it's a give or take, but markets will keep on transforming and changing as life goes by. So if we had to come back in 300 years from now, I suppose a lot of companies we know today won't exist anymore, and I suppose that's part of life. Everything will be AI driven.
As long as they don't forget their BEE status. So what are we talking about today?
We had a desperate cry for help from an HR manager, say, please, can't we do a podcast on this? She's the HR manager and she's on the verge of resigning because her employer doesn't listen to her. And now they had a CCMA case and it doesn't seem that it went well. And it's all because they didn't listen to her. So my title for today is, We Told You So, HR Unheard.
Ek het vir jou gesê.
Ek het vir jou gesê, maar jy wil nie luister nie. So let's talk about that. And hopefully, so we can obviously have examples of where employers don't listen to their HR managers. But let's contextualize this and let's unpack it a bit. What is the position called HR? What is a person's job? To also just give a bit of a more context to that person, because a lot of HR people, they've got a very limited focus in terms of what their jobs are really about. Okay, so let's unpack that world and let's say to the HR, welcome to your world. You may not have known this about this. So before you even enter the market, before you even starting to study HR,
Yes.
you must listen to this podcast today so that you can know what you're getting yourself into. Because if you think you're going to walk into a workplace and you're going to change the world, go study something else.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And then let's bring this all back and say, okay, but listen, how does an HR now deal with that reality? So I want to put a question out to you.
Yes.
An HR manager in the workplace, is an HR manager supposed to be neutral, or does he or she also serve the interests of her master, which is the one who pays her?
There's two answers to this.
Give it to me.
There's a view from everyone looking at the HR managers, expecting that they're going to be neutral. But there's honesty. Now, that's answer number two. Okay, number one is expectations. Everyone expects the HR manager to be neutral.
Okay.
Number two, there's what we call a reality. Everyone in the company, and I always say this when I chair my hearings and I try to explain to employees, even at the CCMA, that's one of my key words that I use. Everyone has the best interest of the company in their heart. So, the HR manager will always serve the business. Always, not sometimes, not some other time.
So you're saying the HR serves the interests of the master?
The business.
Which is the master? The business is the... No. Hold on. Tepo, don't be so general. Yes, it sounds fantastic, but the reality of the matter is that business got a face.
The business.
That business, there's a person behind that business.
Okay, let me just... Even the owners of the business, they are not bigger than the business.
They are, it's their business.
I always tell... No, they are not bigger than the business. That's why I always say to the employees who will be charged with late coming, absenteeism and those kind of things. I will say, the owner of the business will wake up at 3 in the morning and start thinking strategically, what's the better thing that I can put? The owner of the business will sleep at 12 midnight or will wake up in the middle of the night. I'm talking this from experience because my boss always say, I woke up last night and I thought of this and this and this.
Yes,
it's a strategic plan, you understand? So it means money never sleeps. That's the definition of money never sleeps. So this person is not bigger than the business because he's doing his best to maintain and sustain the business, but not only for himself, also for the employees, for the managers, for everyone. So now everyone must put the best interest of the business first. That's where my answer is. I'm going like this, but my answer still says.
But let me elaborate on that.
Okay.
I think there are two sub-headings or views or realities. So yes, in principle, everybody looks after the interests of the business. Also, the business owner look after the interests of the business. So therefore, in the one direction, you get employers that actually, they manage in a sensible way. Not perfect,
yes,
but in a sensible way. Like for myself, for instance, okay, if I can testify to my thinking process, I look at it objectively and say, listen, how can we create a team environment where we're not exhausted, because we work in a negative environment. My nails are finished, okay? So I can understand that maybe there's always this thing luring in the background or on the horizon of people being overworked or burned out or stressed or maybe even get depression, all those kind of things. And yes, I can't protect people against the realities of life, but I can play my part. So I constantly look at how I can engineer our workspace to make it more user-friendly, if I can put it that way, because we are living in a fast-paced environment, very demanding environment. So we do things like, for instance, giving everybody one. For the office staff, they typically get one paid Friday a month, so they can get every staff member here get one long weekend a month. The other consultants, they tell me, I'm taking off, they're taking off, okay? So we try that.
Yes.
Also from a monetary perspective, starting this month now, we give staff a 3% commission on a certain aspect of our turnover. just to make them also feel rewarded as the business grow. And if we lose clients, they also feel it. You see, so we do these kind of things. So you get those business owners that will focus on a sensible approach to holistic business management. But there's this saying, even endorsed by the courts, that the workplace is the coming together of the interest of capital, which is the employer, and the interest of labor, which is the employee. And often these interests, they are in conflict with each other. So that is also the second reality.
Yes.
That often you get to deal with business owners, they don't really care about holistic management. They care about making money at all costs. So in that kind of environment, and I think this plea for help also came through from a person in that kind of environment. Business sense doesn't always prevail. Having a good corporate culture doesn't always prevail. It's about making money. Business is simple. I had a business owner, he always used to give you Biltong after he shouted at you. That guy, remember that guy?
Yes.
For him, business is simple. You open door, make money, and close it. Bank it and close the door.
That's it.
It's very simple.
Yeah, he did not complicate.
He doesn't care about culture and all these kind of things, So in that kind of environment, the idea is amplified that it's staff against the employer, and they're fighting constantly. And this is now the HR managers in that mix. So I think for the one HR manager being in business type A, where there's common sense, I think it's easier to operate there.
Yes.
But if you're in the dog eat dog world kind of company, they're not going to listen to you, honey.
And then they say, union.
and then Chipo, this podcast is going to be long. This podcast.
They say, union in the mix.
Kanama. Because that's so true. We had a very big client for many years. 2024 December, it came out at a big fight at the CCMA against a very large union in this country, and we won, and they literally got basically kicked out of that company. Last year, that company had zero issues. They didn't phone me once, and at the end of the year, a new MD came and says they don't need us anymore. How is that being fired for good service? Okay? But it still goes, but my point is not to complain about losing a client. My point is, if you're in this kind of environment, option B now, where it's a dog eat dog kind of world, kind of business, that opens a vacuum for unions to come into. And then the employers want to know what is wrong with staff. Yeah. It's not staff, it's you.
Exactly.
But the HR operates in that environment. And you know what? Mark my words. I see this a lot. The moment that HR want to put some discipline into the workplace, the unions turn against the HR, file, what do they call this, mutual interest disputes, which is crazy, by the way, in law. Mutual interest disputes demanding the HR gets fired.
Hey, I've dealt with that.
We deal with it often. It's like poor HR manager. The moment she starts put direction into the business, she gets targeted by the unions. But this is the thing, Chepo. And this is the message for HR also. Before you start studying HR, I think is it's a fantastic career to be in, but you need to know what you're walking yourself into. There's two companies, company A and company B. And most of us operate in company B, dog eat dog company. And there it's about the interest of capital versus the interest of labor, which creates a vacuum for chaos. So in that environment, that employer wants you to create the face of neutrality, but you're there to serve their bank balance. They're the master. You are an enabler, and you need to make it work. You have a magical wand, and you say, Achalai, Machalai, Puch. Tsepo, sorry, there's so much we can talk about today, but this is from a marketing perspective.
Yes.
My approach, which is obviously nonsense. Please don't go and do this. I'm not endorsing it, but we all have our vocabulary from a sales tactical perspective. Yes. So when a company like that phones me and says to me, you know what, we've got a CCMA case and my HR manager said we're going to lose it, then I normally say, no man, that's not necessarily true. We can always shoot the guy on the way to the CCMA. There's no losing. The reason why I'm saying that is obviously try to get a foot in the door, but secondly also, it's not really necessarily always about winning and losing. There's so much more to a dispute, that sometimes other legal advisors or HR managers, they only have a very limited understanding or solution of this problem. They only see one thing is we're going to lose the CCMA. There are always settlements. There's always, like you, for instance, you will go sometimes in and you have no case, but you walk out with a withdrawal. I don't know what you tell the guy, but you see, I'm just saying it's not the end of it if you don't have a strong case. You wanted to say something and I interrupted you.
No. It takes me back to my actually, there's two things that came to my mind. It took me back to my days when I was still working for that logistic company. Because remember I was put there.
Logistic company, yeah.
I was put there to neutralize things because now that's when they did away with the employment agency and then employed drivers direct to the business. So I was the one who foreseen that process goes smooth and explain to the people what is the transition that was taking place. So now this 140 something drivers relied heavily on me, and I could see that they are putting their heads just like this here, all of them, 145 people. But now also because I was in the middle between the business, the owners, because I must always give feedback to them. But I love the fact that the owner there, for some point, he gave me a free role. He will say, go do what is fit, see for the business. I will always consult with you on Fridays and say, this is the income, this is what I've encountered, and then you give me advice, and then I will say feedback to them. And actually, we had less accidents, we had zero hijackings.
Tsepo, this is a fantastic point you bring up. Because that company operates in a very tough industry.
Yes.
In logistics, trucks get burned down.
Yes.
So drivers get hijacked. Exactly. I've seen drivers being assaulted to the extent where they can no longer work.
So in my tenure, when I had a free role, things were fantastic. I'm not putting out myself there to say I'm the best thing that ever happened after a toasted slice of bread, but it was fantastic. But when my role was taken away, when they employed a new GM, things started going messy. We were at the CCMA or at the Road Freight Bargaining Council. So when my role was taken away, now I had to every 5 minutes report to that GM, whereas I had a good relationship between the owner of the business and the drivers. But now there was a third party now that I was introduced to, and then he made my life a living hell. And then that's when we started having accidents. We even had people going on an illegal strike. You remember?
Yeah, no, I mean, gunshots.
I went for a hiding for 2 days because
security was shotguns, and I came in there with my briefcase. Now you
understand. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's the example that you're saying. This environment and this other environment, and then.
But Chep, I just want to focus quickly on this environment you're talking about now, because they've been with us for a very long time now, and this is actually a good story. And this is part of the context how I want to contextualize to HR managers. So when we start there, then obviously, it's a very hard business, operating in a very hard environment. It's hectic. Like you said now, illegal strike, gunshots, security with shotguns, and that's the environment we get ourselves involved in, But, and you know what? I also have my moments where I'll go to my friends and say, listen, I can't take it anymore, these people, whatever, they don't want to listen to me or whatever. But then they ask me, if not you, who? Because they can get themselves somebody else who are completely immoral and just take them from bad to worse. Yeah. So, but anyway, so now we stick it out with them over many years. And you know what? We're actually starting to make a difference because now they're starting to trust us. Now they do what we say. It's not 10 years later, whatever. Fair procedures. People don't get unfairly dismissed anymore. The arbitration cases has gone from year to maybe year. And for the HR manager, and this is the sweet spot of being in our kind of environment, is that you do get to make a change, but it's not as idyllic as you think it would be when you start.
And it's not an overnight thing.
It's not an overnight thing, I mean, there's other companies, BEE non-compliant. There's one company I'm thinking of, BEE non-compliant. No, we're not going to do BEE because we're not going to give away our business and whatever. And then I have to say, relax. A long time ago, I started to be a preacher, so now I'm saying, relax. BEE is not going to take your food out of your mouth. Yeah. It's not going to take your child out of university. it's really, we operate in an environment where one hand rubs the other hand, you see. And there's business opportunities here too. That specific company is now BE level 2. And you know what? They're still having food on the table.
And actually they're growing every week.
And these guys are growing. It's just like, what the hell? They're such a good company. But you see, that's where you as a HR makes the change. By sticking it out, getting your hands dirty, walking in and swimming in the mud and working with that individual and slowly start changing them to the benefit of the staff and the business. So it's not your idea of how we're going to save the business or how we're going to serve the interests of the business. It's really, if you're on that dog-eat-dog kind of business, it really is about you walking with that management. You must have hair in your teeth. You know, when you sleep at night, last night, for instance, I had a hectic CCMA case. Last night, I'm not a guy for medicines and pills, but last night I asked my wife, I need a sleep pill. Because I was at the CCMA and there's this, and I told her I'm going to have this court, I'm not going to switch off tonight when I sleep, I'm going to have this court case. I need to switch off. So I took a sleeping pill and I slept wonderfully. But if not, I would have been before that commissioner and we would have been fighting, whatever. That's the environment and experience if you're in HR. You're going to go to bed with your boss, with your operations managers, with the other legal team, with the union. You need to have, you know, Chepo, yesterday a consultant phoned me and said, listen, she's giving us all her clients. She's had enough. That's where we operate and make changes, Chepo.
Actually, you're right. My weekend was sour.
Why?
Because remember, there's something that happened last week that involves me with a sort
work
of
or
work.
Oh, that thing.
Yes. So, my weekend was upside down. I couldn't. Up until I saw a message on the group that, team, we're not going to have that meeting on Monday. Then my stomach started opening. Then I could eat. Then
the meeting on Monday was not about that. Just by the way, it wasn't even about that. It was something completely.
So you are right. So, you know, when you are committed with what you're doing, and like now, let's say an HR manager now in a company, and then maybe they make a decision or a. Remember, I always tell also people that there's a thin line between negligence and mistake. It will depend on who is viewing it and from which point of view.
Yeah.
On my point of view, it can be it's a mistake, and then but the outcome of that can just automatically result to a negligence, which can even become a gross negligence because now it will lead to a loss of income and then have a financial impact on the business and those kind of things. So yeah, I understand.
For me, it's important that when it comes to the mistakes made, whatever.
Yes.
Look, we operate in a very fast-paced business where we don't only look at the interests of one company. We've got a lot of companies out there who have. So it's a fast-paced thing, and sometimes we do make mistakes. But for me, the thing is, and we talk about company A now, where you build a good culture. If I have the heart of all the staff, you know, then we can deal with mistakes. But if I look in somebody's eyes and he's rebellious, whatever, that day, as Trump used to say, fired. But anyway, come back to, you know, the conversation here. So I want to talk about some examples, and you also have a lengthy list of examples. So yesterday it was last week in Cape Town, I had this case. It's a constructive dismissal case, and so this woman she resigned. Okay, it's from a retail company, and the owner of the business, he's extremely stressed out because of this case. Okay, I personally don't feel that the applicants got merits. Constructive dismissal is very difficult to win for an employee, so I'm not too stressed about the merits of the case. But here's this one thing. This owner, he's got a temper on him. And this lady's, most of the case is about that temper. Even though she never filed a grievance, she never actually complained about it, and she resigned for something completely different. But the reality of the matter is, he's got a temper. And I eventually thought to myself, as much as we want to protect our client, and we want to win the case, and I'm confident we are going to win the case, as much I want him to go through this pain. Because he's not listening.
I told you so.
He's not listening. When people and when we're talking, he needs to tone down.
Yeah.
It goes in here and it goes out there. So on the one hand, and you know what, this case is taking forever. So in my heart, I'm like, you're going to go through this. You're going to sit through this.
And it's going to be a learning curve.
And then yesterday he told me, but listen, this case is taking so long. And I told him, yeah, but remember, it can take another 6 years if this goes to the Labour Court eventually and then to the Labour Appeal Court. So I've explained to you right in the beginning, there's a legal process. So I want him to feel the pain, because when we speak to him, he doesn't listen.
So yesterday, I was in CCMA.
And I did tell him to his face yesterday, you actually do have this problem.
Yesterday, I was in the CCMA in Pretoria. Normally, my emotions doesn't easily get... You know, I've been doing this for so long that I park my emotions when I deal with matters. But yesterday, somehow...
Here, Kanama, we've been doing this for so long. Last week, we sent our new consultant for her first arbitration, eh?
Yes. I was holding her hand and then... She was
not a new consultant, but she's been trained now.
She was on
the first
208.
arbitration.
She was on 208, I was on 211. She's like, keep on texting, come and check up on me. I'm like, ah.
That's like, woo.
But I think she did well.
Eventually she's going to sit here and say, I've been doing this for so long.
So yesterday, this old man also filed for constructive dismissal. But poor old man, I don't think he knows what he was doing. Because when there's this thing that I do when I get to the CCMA. I sit like this.
Yeah.
And I put my things there, then I relax, I take a sit back. Listen to him talk, then I'm like, poor old man. His brother flew from Cape Town to come and be...
and it was only conciliation.
It was only conciliation.
Oh man, flying from Cape Town. Yeah.
So the HR manager also felt sorry for the old man and said, you know what? This old man, we issued him with a notice to attend. But on the spot, he resigned.
Yeah, he doesn't have merits.
You understand? On the spot, he resigned. But he doesn't understand what he did. Now the brother came in, now the commissioner allowed it because he's clueless. And then the brother's like, but this is not the case that we filed. But now it was an online thing. Who did it? It's them, online. So the HR manager was like, you are very good with this. I'm like, you see, that's why now you
HR told you?
Yes, that's why you must keep us now here. Then she ended up now opening up about something that is happening in the business. And then she tried to neutralize a situation with the ops manager and a PA of the director. And then, to mediate in between, ask the ops manager to apologize. Because now this PA, she's working on thin ice because she's been making a lot of mistakes, and then some of the mistakes are big actually, it's not small mistakes. But now, because she had a grievance, they don't want to immediately put her in a hearing. They wanted to get this grievance over and done with so that they can apply the misconduct route with her. The ops manager refused to apologize after throwing papers and asked the lady to pick up papers.
Yeah.
Now it's putting the HR manager in a tight position. It's like, I told you so. Now it's going to look like, because now the sooner they put this person in a hearing, because now she's making, even 2 days ago, she sent wrong documents to wrong clients with confidential information. It's big. And then I'm like, this one is a straight misconduct. But the HR manager is in a rock and a hard place to say, if I go this route of misconduct, she's going to think that now I'm being spiteful because now of the grievance. So it goes back to this thing of HR managers. Sometimes they are put in a tight position.
There are. I mean, we've got now another case with a whole list of arbitrations coming up where this employer, contrary to the advice of HR, went to make a whole certain division in the company, the staff independent contractors. But they're not. And from a legal perspective, they're not. Because you heard somewhere if you pay staff by invoice, then there's no CCMA when you chase them away. I'm like,
if you knew how much I drive to Val.
So now we're at the conciliations, now the arbitrations, and this is where I start biting my nail. I'm like, where's that one? You know, it's like, what? Your seat's got getting hot here. It's like, what are we going to do here? But the thing, we told you so.
But my last question will be, I saw on your catalog of Effectus Harmony that you also do full HR work for companies.
Yes.
So if the company doesn't have an HR personnel, or they have maybe a human capital officer or something, are you?
You know, Chaile, it's interesting you bring that up. If we can do some marketing here, but companies, you know, it's me strange. Sometimes a company will ask, what's our fee? There's obviously various fee pricing structures, but let's say it's something like 2,000 and 3,000 rand a month, or whatever the case may be. It's like, ooh, it's so expensive. But now you talk about HR departments and so yes, there are various kind of services we have, but we can also be your HR department. We're an extension of your company. So like you have a marketing department, accounts department, we can be your HR department. So we can manage your HR processes. We've got the software. And then it depends on what you want. You know, I mean, we can do your payroll, we can do your B, WSP, ATR, health and safety, employment equity, your IR. So there's a lot that we can do as your HR department. And you know what? A lot of those basket of services is the same as the minimum wage of one low-level employee. So let's say the thumb suck, 5,000 rand a month as an example. Like, ooh, it's so expensive. But it's the minimum wage of one low-level employee. I mean, if you're going to build that department yourself, you will probably, if you're an SME, you will probably pay like 700,000-800,000 rand a month. Because just your payroll manager is going to be 50,000 a month.
Yeah, no, I just wanted
your IR specialist is going to be 70,000-80,000 a month. And then we talk software and licenses and the supporting staff and structures, training, education, you know. So, yeah, we do. But anyway, so, but just to close off, to bring this all together for the HR manager. So some years ago, I was a group HR director for about 6-7 years at a company. And every week I will have a meeting with the CEO. Luckily, we've known each other for many years. So we've got a very good relationship. But those meetings, it was a we told you so, HR unheard kind of meetings. And we were fighting. You see, he as a CEO, he wants to go from A to Z in a straight line. I say, yes, we are going to go there, but the line is not straight. It's like this, you see. And as a CEO, he didn't like it. He understood it and he appreciated it. But after the meeting, we'll go and laugh together or whatever. But it's a fight. So if you are in HR, you need to understand this, that the CEOs, they are there to make money. And you need to have a love for this. If it wasn't for capital, if it wasn't for CEOs, you wouldn't have had airplanes and all these buildings and the stadiums and all these kind of things. You wouldn't have had this. You wouldn't have even had a job. So we need to appreciate that this is a species you are dealing with. Yeah. CEOs and entrepreneurs, they operate in a certain way, and you are there not to necessarily be neutral, but to create and establish fair labor practices. But even that in itself is not a straight line. Some long time ago, I was at the CCMA Pretoria, it's probably 10 odd years ago. CCMA Commissioner told me, he says, you know what? Okay, this was now for HR consultants. He said, I love HR consultants. Why? Because they are like the backbone in a company. They introduce that scale, that measurement, you see. And that's what HR does. You're not going to go in there and immediately the employer's going to listen to you and it's just going to be fair. No, it's going to be unfair. They're going to request of you to serve their interest, but in that space, you start bringing coffee to the boss. You start getting into his mind. You start, you know, when I studied theology, they say to me, one of the things that trained us on that is that you, as a leader, you must earn the right to speak into other people's lives. Yeah. Same message for an HR manager. You need to earn the respect of your leader, of your CEO. So and look about this. We don't care about the union. They must respect you.
Yes.
You know, you got the title. The staff must respect you. You got the title, but your CEO, your employer, don't have to respect you. You need to earn that respect.
Yes.
I'm not saying don't earn the respect of the others. I'm just saying in principle, if you are the captain of the army, you don't care whether the staff respect you, technically whether your soldiers respect you or not. They must listen to you whether you're an asshole or not. But the president, you want his trust.
Exactly.
You see the same thing here.
Because you are on deployment.
You're on deployment, so you need to earn the trust of that CEO. He doesn't even know if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
He knows, he appointed you because on the paper you say you can do the job, but you didn't earn that trust yet, and that takes time. And as you convince him that you're fighting for him, so he will start giving you the free rein to implement your fairness in this ecosystem here. And that's where you, 5 years later, you're like, I'm bored with my job. Everything's just working nicely. Anyway.
Women in tech is going to fight with us now.
Yeah, so hang in there. Know what you're in for, in the environment you're in. And I'm not saying you must stay there. If you can't take it anymore, leave. But as an HR, there are these two kind of environments. There's the logical one that makes sense, and then there's a dark world kind of business. But even there, it can be your calling. It can be your mission field. You can make a change there, and we've got many stories to tell of where we get in there biting our nails and we just don't know what we're going to do there. But as time goes by, it's like, I haven't heard of that customer for a long time.
You must drive past that area and then greet and then have coffee and then.
So that's for today, Tsepo.
Thank you very much. Don't forget our job reviews. I saw something also popping this morning, early in the morning at around.
Yeah, there's
5
jobs.
o'clock in the morning.
Jobs. Fresh vacancies.
So,
our job review, people, it's fresh. It's in our networks before it hits the press.
Yeah.
It's in Chaile time. So take a look.
Okay, Toby. Next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Good morning, Harmony people. Let's have a look at some of the vacancies posted nationwide on our Harmony People's network this week. First up, Liquor Runners is advertising for a cost accountant. Greater Zanin Municipality has an opening for a HR management practitioner. Safran is looking for motivated engineering interns. And last but not least, Balantati is seeking a highly capable HR officer with proven generalist experience to support their human resources function. For the full information of the mentioned positions, how to apply, as well as more available positions, find the vacancy link in the description. You will also find a link to a useful video on how to compose a winning CV and have a successful interview. Tune in again next week for more Harmony vacancies.